Hello, my name is Decker. I am excited to introduce a couple of new electronic instruments now circulating at the Bartholomew County Public Library. Here we have the Gen X1 Stylophone, and this is the Korg Volca Keys. These are both all analog synthesizers capable of making some really great sounds as well as some really interesting experimental noises. They are completely portable, they're battery powered, they have built-in speakers so you can play them on the go. They're perfect for anybody kind of wanting to learn more about analog synthesis, whether or not you actually have a background in music. They're just really fun instruments to get to know. So in this video, we will do a brief tutorial on how to work with these instruments. If you would like any more substantial sort of instruction, you can check the manuals that come with the synthesizers, and you can also look at other YouTube videos. Let's get started. All right, so here we have the Stylophone. The Stylophone is a fun little instrument. Instead of the like the keys that we would normally see in a keyboard, here we have a metal plate that's connected to a circuit board, and instead of pushing that, we actually have this stylus here. I'll push that, that pops out. We'll turn it on right here, and you play with the stylus. Volume here, I'll turn it up a little bit. It's monophonic, which means it can play one sound at a time. If you don't want to use the stylus, we also have this ribbon controller here that you can use with your finger. So on the side here, we also have some sub-octaves. So the -1 puts 1 octave below the note that you play. -2 is 2 octaves below. So you get a nice, thick, beefy, sort of low frequency bass sound. And the X here is pulse width modulation, and that kind of creates a chorus effect. Thickens up the noise a little bit. So on this side, we've already gone through the volume. If you want to use headphones, there's a headphone jack. We've got an auxiliary input, so you can play an instrument or other noise source actually through this, which is pretty cool. And on the underside here, we have the tuner. If you want to make sure that it's tuned kind of standard, so like the middle C on this instrument is actually middle C on a piano, make sure the knob is pointing to that little indicator right there. Okay, and so then we'll just go over some of the parameters that are here. We have the filter, which lets through or subtracts the higher frequencies. All right, we have an LFO, a low frequency oscillator, which can modulate the filter as well as the pitch. We can switch between a triangle wave right now or a square wave. A triangle wave is more subtle, or it has kind of it glides up and down, and a square wave is just on or off. In the envelope, sculpts the sound and how it changes over time. The attack controls how quickly the frequency sort of comes in, and then the decay is how quickly the frequency fades out. And then finally, the delay here is sort of an echo effect. So if we put that on. So with the Stylophone as well as the Volca Keys, it'll come with a set of cards that feature some patches, some sort of presets with kind of more standardized sounds that you can get. So here I have set it up so that it is the wah bass preset. So the wah effect that we're getting, that's coming from the envelope. The attack slowly opens that filter up. We can add some delay. And so now I have set it to one of my favorite patches, the laser beam. So where the wah bass had some pretty straightforward utility as a bass tone. Let's hear what this sounds like. Crazy, out of this world sci-fi noise, which is what I love about synthesis. Very fun. So just in this very small sort of compact unit, we have a wide variety of sounds that we can get, right, with pretty minimal sort of tweaking of these knobs and things like that. And so now moving on to the Korg Volca keys. It may look a little bit more intimidating than the Stylophone, but a lot of these features actually are similar to what we've already gone through, with the big exception being the step sequencer, which we will get to in just a minute. So again, this is all analog. It is battery powered. I'm going to turn it on here. It does come with an adapter port if you would like to plug it into the wall, which comes in the case when you check it out from the library. It also has a headphone jack. So this, you can see, it actually kind of does have a keyboard set up. Turn this volume up a little bit. A little bit more like a traditional keyboard like that we might be familiar with. So whereas the Stylophone was monophonic, this is polyphonic, which means it has 3 oscillators and it can play up to 3 notes at a time, so we can do chords. All right, and this knob right here kind of controls how many oscillators we're using. It's on poly right now. If we switch it to unison, it's monophonic, which means that all 3 of those oscillators are all making one sound, so it's really thick. Octave, fifth, and so on. This knob right here controls the octave. VCO is voltage controlled oscillator. VCF is voltage controlled filter. So similar to the Stylophone, we have the filter with the cutoff. Another LFO, low frequency oscillator. One of the cool things about this is the LFO can modulate the pitch or the cutoff, whatever you want it to, as well as an envelope generator. Over here we have a delay effect, again time and feedback. Tempo is the tempo of the step sequencer, and then volume. So what is a step sequencer? A step sequencer is essentially a function that allows you to program the instrument to play itself. So you see we have a little play button here. Let's see what happens when I do that. It's playing itself, right? So if I hold this memory button here, you can see we have 8 banks that are represented by these LED lights. So you can save, store, recall up to 8 step sequences in this device. So let's just play this. So I just hold down memory and select the one that I want to play. So these are presets, and as the step sequencer is playing, you can sort of affect the sound as you would like to. So let's say that you want to create your own step sequence. Let's see. Okay, I'll go back to the first one. The function button right here kind of acts like a shift key on a keyboard. You can see on this key here it says clear and then all. I'm going to hold function, hit all, so that clears this step sequence. So now we play, nothing is playing. You can hear the metronome is on if you want to turn that off. Function, it says metronome right here, right? So there are a couple of different ways to actually record a step sequence. You can hit play and hit the record button and then just sort of get rid of that. Or you can also only hit the record button, it starts flashing, and it will not start recording until you start playing. So be like, so I will turn that off, so it is no longer recording. It's in poly mode, so we can play more than one note at a time. So this is cool, so I just essentially recorded a bass line. On top of that, I can just kind of jam, you know, right over it. So it's almost like you're playing, you know, like kind of with somebody with your step sequence. So again, so the tempo here, just the tempo, how fast you want it to go, how slow you want it to go, volume. Yeah, so you do have all of the sort of features that we had with the Stylophone, with all of the parameters for modulation, as well as the step sequencer, which is really great to get into with synthesis as well. So I hope you found this video informative. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. Like I said, both of these instruments are now available for circulation at the Bartholomew County Public Library. Thanks so much. Have fun.